I'm Myra Butter, and I'm a great-great-granddaughter of Pushkin, who is regarded as Russia's greatest poet and writer, and is still regarded almost as if he's alive. He's revered. And the fact was, I'd been involved in a lot of youth movements and was very interested in young people.
It's a creative writing competition for schools, for secondary schools in Scotland and in St Petersburg, to celebrate Pushkin as a great writer, but also his influence in Scotland and Russia down through the years, even to this year. And we're looking for fantastic new writers to take our place when we finally pop off, I guess.
It started very small, which was my intention, but something very strange took place, and it just took off.
Before the prizes, I wasn't very interested in poetry, so I sort of dragged up to poems from first year, which I then later was extremely embarrassed about, and then I entered those as the two of my poetry prizes, and then I put my story in.
I remember going to my teacher and saying, I can't do this, and she said, go on, you've put so much work into it, and I had been writing for months before that to polish up my previous two pieces, and I think I submitted it on the day.
Well, one of them was like a fantasy story of Norse mythology, where this giant came and destroyed everything, basically. Another one was a poem about the person who invented Braille, which is the language that I read and write in as a blind person.
It's a treat every time we do it. It's like having a wonderful anthology of really interesting and incredibly various short pieces of writing handed to you, and you just get to wallow in it. It's fabulous.
I was in maths class and I hate maths, I'm really bad at maths, and I was really happy, and I came back into class and I was so happy that that class, who had only seen me doing maths, struggling with maths, could see that I could do something, so it was really nice.
I was in a wheelchair at the time and I wanted to jump for joy, but it wasn't practical, so I just had to do
Then we have to winnow out the ones that we think are absolutely the best of the lot, in order for them to be chosen to go up and spend a week at Moniack Mhor.
Moniack Mhor just has a sort of very peaceful and productive sort of air about it.
I think it's just great that the young writers get to meet other young writers. I think it's seen as quite a solitary, maybe even a geeky thing to do, to sit at home by yourself just writing, but to be in amongst other writers that are the same age, I think that's a fantastic experience.
You know, it's quite funny to think that just from a bus journey we've been kind of friends ever since.
Just being in this place where writing wasn't just you writing by yourself, it was an experience, and kind of thinking about writing as an entity, kind of, you know, like I remember Jerry was talking about pens, and Diana had this idea of finding the exact correct paper, the best notebook, and then she would find
reporters' notebooks.
Oh, yeah.
She was talking about how she likes to flip through them.
Mm-hmm.
I really don't like reporters' notebooks actually, but it was an interesting talk.
Yeah, and that kind of, you know, the experience, not just, you know, writing is like you and this blank piece of paper, and yeah, that was amazing.
So obviously I'd done English classes in school, but it wasn't the same thing. It was more sort of, I suppose, kind of what seminars are like in university, where you're talking to everyone else and sharing ideas. And I'd not really done that with my writing before. I was always quite hesitant to share it, even with my parents and my teachers. So it was really, that marked a real change, I think, especially in my confidence. I thought, no, I can write and I can show people this.
And I remember that what I really, really liked about it was that you get to engage with young people who are as interested in the world as you are. And it was really nice to have my work assessed by peers and not, again, feel self-conscious about it. Because I think that was the first time that I'd actually properly felt comfortable writing poetry.
Before Moniack Mhor, I was hopeless at writing synopsises and chapter plans, and I usually end up scrunched into a ball. But Kathy showed me how to do it. Like, showed me one of her synopsises, and now I can really write it better. Although they do still end up in a ball.
You have the amazing people that you've met on this, and I've kept in touch with all of them, and it's just been really, it was just a complete, everybody's so comfortable with each other from the get-go, and it really all made friends together, which is quite rare if you shove together a group of teenagers.
Well, for my 17th birthday, I asked my parents for a typewriter, and I've since been using it and been typing about once a week, and I have felt that that has been a really great experience for me, as opposed to typing on a computer. It's kind of that reflection, and I think that has come through from Moniack Mhor, that kind of talking about something, living through writing and realising its significance in your life.
There's definitely been an evolution in my style and also my confidence as well. I'm more confident than ever to show my writing to other people. Yeah.
But I think the Pushkin Prize has really encouraged me to write often and to not view it as something that, again, you do alone and then you put away and you forget about it, and also to write in places you wouldn't think to write in, like trains and cafes, as instead of just kind of in one room. And yeah, and I've been reading a lot of your stuff actually, all your plays.
Oh, yes.
And it's really good to see how people progress as writers, even within, a year, but within 4.
Yes.
And hopefully we've kind of come a long way since the Pushkin Prizes, but it definitely set a foundation and a precedent for what we could do.
We've had one boy who I'll never forget to the day I die. He was submitted from the Royal Blind School the year before last, and he was blind and partially deaf, and he submitted a very good work, and he came into the final list. And he came along to the prizes, and he had said that what he would like to do is to go with the others up for their week's creative writing at Moniack Mhor. So we said, obviously he'd need a little help, so his Braille teacher came with him, and he went, and he partook in absolutely everything they did, and he had his friends around him. They didn't know him before they got there, and there was one boy in particular who took him under his wing, so I think he learned something on the way about not just creative writing. And the Russian children, and they all loved him, and he did extremely well, and he wrote me a touching letter afterwards saying that he'd never forget it, and it had taken him and given him an insight into another world when he wanted to go to Russia, and one day, which I'm sure he will, and that he'd P.S. I'll send you a postcard. So I'm waiting for the postcard now.
As a disabled person, I sometimes find it hard to socialise with hearing and sight and everything. So before Moniack Mhor, I was really nervous of how it was going to work out. But it was really wonderful how brilliant all the young people, including you, Callum, but I don't want to give you a big kid.
Thank you.
Yeah, we just seemed to know what to do, and it was just really nice.
Even the sort of things that sound quite mundane are really special in Moniack Mhor. Just sitting and writing in the Hobbit house for an afternoon was just a lovely experience, and bouncing ideas off each other and reflecting and cooking together also, and just a really great time overall, and it was lovely. And also the meeting Russians and just seeing that different perspective and learning about their culture, and both from the girls and Natalia about what it's like and how they approach writing, and I was amazed by Dasha's skills in talking, and she could just switch from Russian to English and write in both so well. So yeah, it was just so many memories, and I've got pages and pages full of diaries that I wrote there and on the way back and afterwards, just because I don't want to forget any of the moments that were so special during Moniack Mhor.
And I remember the night before we went back home, it was crazy because all these kids were running up and down the corridor, and we were hugging and we were shouting, and we were basically making a racket.
I really did not expect how much I both learn from it and enjoy it.
You can't do anything alone, ever. I've always said that, really. You always have to have somebody or a team. And my goodness, I've got it. And so all we can hope for is that we have a successful fundraising and that the children can go on benefiting, and I shall certainly, as long as I've got breath left in my body, I shall obviously endeavour to keep it going.